Don't have to. It may be because of your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He provides you from sources that you had no idea about these particular sources. I'll give an example that is present from one of the great Imams of India, Imam Waliullah al-Dahlami rahimahullah. Imam Waliullah al-Dahlami rahimahullah, he used to actually find slices of bread in a bag that he used to keep on the door. He'd find slices. And he always found them there at the same time of the day. And this was a bread that was not native. The actual granules or the texture of this bread was a Middle Eastern brand. It wasn't a brand that was actually from there that was known to that area. And he had it all the time there. It was always present. And he would go there at a certain time and collect the bread, and he would even take it back. And this was a ma'una. Now, when he died, because someone could say, well, it could just be a fluke. He could be getting it, someone could be putting it there, and he could be getting it and eating it. But here's the thing. After he died, there was more than one slice being found there now. And the people that moved into the house were not related to him. So now there's 2-3 slices of bread being to that area. And he had it all the time there. It was always present. And he would go there at a certain time and collect the bread, and he would even take it back. And this was a ma'una. Now, when he died, because someone could say, well, it could just be a fluke. He could be getting it, someone could be putting it there, and he could be getting it and eating it. But here's the thing. After he died, there was more than one slice being found there now. And the people that moved into the house were not related to him. So now there's 2-3 slices of bread being found there, and they're carrying on eating it. So it's not an example of a fluke, because someone could say, well, Waliullah, definitely a lot of people respect him as an alim. They may have known that he had this problem of poverty. Just put that bread in there. So why would they put it in there for a rich family that moved in after? Think a rich family wants to buy a little dry bread? Not at all. So this is an example of a ma'una. Someone's being given miraculous sustenance. The next sign that we want to take a look at is one that is common today. It is known as a karram. A karram. A karama is a manifestation of a sign on the hand of a wali or friend of Allah. This is done to not challenge their opponents, but is done for 2 reasons. So a karama happens for 2 reasons. A karama happens to confirm the truth of what the Prophet of that wali has brought. So for example, we're following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're following. And a mirror and a karama is manifested on our hands. That has to do with not because of who we are, but because of the truth of who we are following, and that we are submitting wholeheartedly to what they're bringing. So it's not necessarily coming from us, because the prophets in essence are miraculous. We are not. Further details see Surah Al-A'raf. They are miraculous. In essence, we are not. A second is a strong emphasis and confirmation of the truth of that wali. A strong emphasis and confirmation of the truth of that wali. So firstly is the actual proof that the prophet this person is following is a true prophet. And secondly is the truth of that wali. He is a righteous man or righteous woman. Obviously because of these signs that are being manifested. Obviously they would see certain signs and miracles from him. And we spoke about those signs and miracles from some of the female saints, Rabi al-Adawiyya. We spoke about them from Imam al-Qadir al-Jilani, rahimahumullah. We spoke about all these great saints, rahimahumullah, who are the males and female saints. We spoke about them in length. However, with saying that, there have to be 2 conditions to be a sound wali of Allah. The first condition is you must have sound creed and acceptable foundational principles. So if someone manifests a wondrous sign, they're a Muslim, but they're a drunkard, or they're addicted to heroin, or they're a cultist. This is not a karama. This is a sign that's being manifested from whatever evil is coming from them or from Shaitan himself. It's not a karama. Because in order for a karama to be manifested, a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your creed must be pure, must be a true creed. Another point in regards to the creed is that, and this can actually be held as a second point, your outward piety must be established. Your outward piety must be established. What we mean by your outward piety, is that you must be doing all the foundational principles of the faith. So for example, you meet someone, they are a man, and they are a Muslim, but they shave their beard, they do not pray at all, and they say that you don't have to give zakat, go on hajj, or believe in the prophets. As long as you believe in Allah, it's okay. Yet you see something miraculous come from that person. That is not a karama. That is a deception. And you could be tested if you follow that person. That is something very important we have to understand. Someone cannot be held to be a saint or a wali if they are missing either one of those principles. So I want to give some examples. One example I want to take from is the example of Maryam alayhi salam, in which she spoke to and she was spoken to by the angels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إذ قالت الملائكة يا مريم إن الله يبشرك بكلمات منه اسمه المسيح عيسى ابن مريم وجيها في الدنيا والآخرة ومن المقربين ويكلم الناس في المهد وكهلا ومن الصالحين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, remember when the angel said, O Mary, Allah has given you the glad tidings of a word from Him. His name will be the Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam, honored in this life and the hereafter, and among those near to Allah. He will speak to the people in infancy and in manhood, and will be one of the righteous. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues on. He says, قالت ربي أن يكون لي ولد ولم يمسسني بشر قال كذلك الله يخلق من يشاء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He then says next, He says, she said, my Lord, how shall I have a son when no man has touched me? He said, so, it is for Allah to create what He wills. Whenever He ordains a thing, He only has to say be, and it is. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, really is an amazing ayah, because it says, it's so clear on the fact of the matter when it says, إِذَا قَضَى أَمْرًا فَإِنَّمَا يَقُولُ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونُ. It's so clear. When He says be, it springs into existence. It's easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is taken from Surah Al-Imran, the 3rd surah, ayat 45 to 47. So here we have a karama being manifested on Maryam alayhi salam. This is a karama being manifested on her. Now as far as the way that, and this is what's amazing, is with Maryam and Isa alayhi salam, you actually have a karama and a mu'jiza combined in two people. Because you have the karama of Maryam alayhi salam receiving the good news of the virgin birth, and then you have the mu'jiza of Isa being born in a way outside of the normal way that we understand human birth. So there's a mu'jiza and a karama that is present there. And Maryam is asking, how will I bear this great and wondrous karama? How will I bear it? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has just said that it is easy for Him, and He just says, and it is. I'll give you another example of a karama, and it's our final example from the Quran, and it's in Surah Al-Anbiya, the 21st surah, ayah 91. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّتِي أَحْسَنَتْ فَرْجَهَا فَنَفَخْنَا فِيهَا مِنْ رُوحِنَا وَجَعَلْنَا وَابْنَاهَا آيَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and she who guarded her chastity, we breathed into her from our spirit, and we made her and her son a sign for the creation. This is from Surah Al-Anbiya, the 21st surah, ayah 91.